Hello, our friends. This is Heather and Ann Wynne-Phillips.
I'm Buffy.
And we are here to give a follow-up report from the report we gave you after Ann's first infusion of Kisunla. And so now she has had infusion 2, which went much better. And we're very grateful. But we realized we had not told you, some of you don't know us, and we're maybe wondering, who in the heck are these?
Who are these people?
Who are these ladies? So I am Heather Wynne-Phillips. I am a nurse practitioner at the Bird Alzheimer's Institute in Tampa, Florida. I am a dementia specialist. So I diagnose and treat dementia patients. And
she wasn't always one. When we met, she wasn't one.
Yeah. I was a hospice nurse.
So
back
she
in
didn't
the day.
just pick me up on the dementia
Right.
floor. Just wanted you to know that.
Right.
It's wasn't
like that.
Wasn't
No.
like dementia cougar. Anyway,
Right.
she didn't do that.
Nope.
No.
So ironically, back in the summer, Anne was diagnosed with Alzheimer's pathology. I was not a wife in this situation. I did not pick up anything.
You were a wife in this situation.
I was a wife in this
Yeah.
situation, not a provider, sorry.
Right.
And did not really think that there was any big problem. Just, I told Anne, you're just getting old.
Yeah.
So she and her primary care provider
Yeah.
had the blood testing done, the new Alzheimer's blood testing, which we told you
We did
last
all that
time. Right. So anyway, so she was found to have Alzheimer's pathology in her brain. Not only did we do the blood test, but she also did the amyloid PET scan. So that led us to the first infusion of Kisunla, which was a little rough, as we told you last time. And so up to date now, she has had a second infusion, which went much better. Our doctor, Ann's doctor, who is my boss, suggested that we pre-medicate this time purposely, not in sort of reactively like we did last time. So she got some steroid and took a Cheech and Chong gummy.
Let me show you this. Okay.
Which
this is
has
right
proven
here.
to be extremely helpful.
I got it right.
For sleep. They're helping Anne sleep. They're helping manage her anxiety.
And nausea.
And
they help my nausea.
And so we pre-medicated with that. Also pre-medicated with a Benadryl tablet, which ended up not being the right thing to do, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Plus, the morning before the infusion, just a couple of hours before the infusion, she went and had a deep tissue massage, which proved to be very, very helpful.
Yeah,
Highly recommend that.
I get those on the regular. I have since the 70s. I'm convinced it's the only thing that's kept me upright and alive all these years. I'm a big believer in it, and not getting, she's playing with my hands again.
We don't want to just see hands.
Yeah, and because I think it's just good health maintenance, and it's not. I'm not talking about just the massage salon schmear that I'm not talking about that. Going and finding somebody that's a real practitioner of it, a professional
of deep tissue,
deep tissue, and that over the years knows your body and knows what you need to do, as well as somebody that can do stretches with you, passive stretches. You can stretch all you want, but there's only so much. I don't care how much you do something, you have your limitations where you're going to go ow, 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 ow. And when they're doing it, they're going to stretch you in a way that's not painful, but it's going to be, as the body, they're feeling the muscle go and relax and help you. So all those things are good, and I've done it. I'm a big believer, and in particular, I think anybody has some kind of chronic issues or anxiety issues, or is going through something like I am, it was helpful. And in this time, my massage therapist, who I've gone to for a long time now, said, let's just do a relaxation thing. It helps the blood flow and your circulation. So I was nice and relaxed. I had pre-medicated also with a Cheech and Chong. Highly recommend. Um, and now, especially if you're retired now and you're not in healthcare like I was anymore, you don't have to pee in a Dixie cup anymore. You can do this thing. You can microdose and just don't drive or sign any contracts or have any nuclear codes or anything like that. Although it's not going to make you feel like that. These are just BB stuff, but they do help. And they definitely helped with some other symptoms.
And you also wore your C-bands.
C-bands. These are little things that I don't have. I should have brought them in here with us out here. But there's what people take them for motion sickness, some flying.
So acupressure points.
Acupressure points.
On your wrist.
And put it on my wrist, and they did have a significant impact, especially the first time around when I was in really horrible, just nausea,
And you can order them off Amazon. They're super cheap.
Yeah, and they work.
So day one.
Second time around.
Day one after the infusion, the second infusion, a little dizziness, but nothing major.
Right.
We were thinking, wow, we escaped this. However, she had a horrible developing cold that was the gift of one of our
Thanksgiving gift, a parting gift.
Thanksgiving gift.
Thank you, Sugar Bear. I love you so much, but I didn't want your crud, but you didn't know, and there you go. And but we had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and I'm so glad we just love those people, Sugar Bear and Lee and Ramona, our best friend, that we had a great Thanksgiving. But I did get a little crud, which kind of covered up this delayed reaction. Now, I had an initial reaction in the chair immediately after the infusion, just like the first time. It wasn't as bad because we pre-medicated, but we messed up with taking that Benadryl pill orally, and we won't do that next time.
Right.
And just let them give me the Benadryl infusion or intravenous IV, and because it didn't quite hit it, and so I had some flushing, felt kind of funny, but not the severe stuff I did the first time. And like I said, I kind of walked out of there thinking, well, we've kind of gone unscathed. But then the delayed reaction, just like last time, came again. I had a cold, which messed everything up.
So third day, she's feeling bad. So I go to my happy place, and that is distracting myself with cooking. So I decide, okay, today will be a good day for me to bake treats to take to my workmates. And so I am baking.
And let me rest.
And I gave her a taste of one of my, the recipe with the saltine that you make the toffee and pour it on. And anyway, they're delicious, but they are very buttery, very buttery. So I gave her just a tiny little bite.
Because I hadn't felt well and hadn't really eaten because of the cold, I thought.
So the nausea is building, and she swears it's because I gave her this buttery treat. And that was the cause.
Gave me that butter. You're trying to poison me, woman.
Cause of it. Well, anyway, I was like,
fault.
That little tiny bit, that could not have it created this ongoing nausea, and it built as the day went on.
It did.
It was awful. So finally.
Then I'm down to the dry heaves.
Right.
Because I hadn't eaten anything.
So I'm like, okay, this is Zofran time. So gave her a couple of Zofran, and
that's for nausea.
Right. She's eating Tums throughout the day. What else did you take?
Cheech and Chong.
So anyway, finally, it took probably about 8 hours of nausea, a little vomiting. And finally, it subsided after the Zofran. So, but that was nowhere near severe as the last time. Didn't last as long. So it was really the third day was kind of a rough day. Not severe. Didn't like panic me like last time. But enough where she just felt rotten all day long Saturday.
She did another good thing that night. She kind of medicated me, and she said, I just want you to lie down. She had the lights off. She don't watch football or whatever, might have been on. And she came into the room. You got to know your loved one's love language, okay? All right? One of mine is, one-on-one time, as well as touch, my number one, I have 3, is words of affirmation. So she lay down, gave me a touch, told me I was her sweet baby and she cared about me and how good I and brave I was and everything. But she also gave me that quality time of just being present with me, not trying to fix it or tell me how I felt or whatever. And then she very quietly turned on her phone and she'll watch a little movie or something. And I know she always likes those old Christmas movies, so we watched a bunch of those and things. So I'm just like, trying to be still and not feel like I want to puke or anything. And I kind of hear it, and it has the music that sounds like the music of something in the 50s or something like that, or, whatever, older kind of music. And I kind of peep out of one eye, and I can see it's black and white or whatever. So I thought she's watching one. But pretty soon, I'm listening to the dialogue because I'm a high auditory. And what she was doing was distracting me. And first of all, this ability to be distracted, I will tell you, and I have it in a high degree, is both a blessing and a curse. Most of my life has been a curse. That night, it was a blessing because I was easily distracted. So I told her, as the disease progresses, remember, I'm easily distracted. She doesn't forget. So usually she's telling me, focus, but she was distracting me. And she put on something specifically that she thought would draw me in. And it did. Next thing you know, I'm kind of rolled over and I'm leaning on her, and I'm watching it. And it was a Christmas movie I'd never seen before, but the dialogue drew me in. And it turned out it was written by Rod Serling, who is like one of my heroes, one of my favorites since childhood. I used to watch his stuff back in the day. My wife says, why do you watch this junk? You have nightmares. And I thought I never had any nightmares from his stuff. He was both a gifted writer, a prophet, and a visionary. I told Mom, I said, I don't get scared from his stuff. It's real life that scares me. But it was called Another Christmas. So if you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. But I watched that whole thing with her. And by the time it ended, I felt better and I drifted off to sleep.
She did. Yep.
Just a miracle worker.
Yep. So we just wanted to give you an update. And we'll periodically give you more information about how Cassandra is going for us. After last time, poor thing, she was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this again. But, Dr. Smith reassured us that she felt like it would get better and we could be more proactive, and we did. And there's information now that as providers we're considering, which is lowering some of the doses initially, kind of recalibrating how we're infusing, slowing the infusion, which they did. They slowed
did that.
Infusion.
They slowed the infusion.
But changing up the dosage a little bit to have a little gentler start. So there's studies coming out right now that maybe that's the way to go, that does not compromise effectiveness. So we're, unfortunately for you, you're kind of at the beginning of all this. So, I'm
a unicorn or lab rat. I don't know.
Right.
But
So,
but the other thing, big props to the people at Sage Infusion, where I go. They're
right.
wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Again, big props to my BFF who went with me again. I don't know why she did it after the first time.
I'm at work, so we're relying on our precious friend Ramona, who's been going with her.
Yeah, who's my infusion wife, and she went with me, and so she's the one that puts a blanket on me and shares if I feel like it, one of my nabs, if you know, from North Carolina, snack cookie, and as I feel, but just takes care of me while I'm in that process. But the people at Sage Infusion are, from my nurse practitioner, the whole team, they are just love buckets. They came in there. I didn't think they would probably even want me back after the first time. I wouldn't have, not because I was bad, but just because it was not a fun experience for anybody. But they are so on top of these people are so, and so they had my stuff on hand, and they talk you through every step of the way. They watch you like not like a hawk, but I mean, like those sheep dogs, like this. And so they also slowed up my infusion of the Benadryl so that I didn't go down like an elephant from a tranquilizer gun. And also she had things in a bigger bag so it wasn't concentrated, she told me. And I didn't get such a big, because I'm sensitive to things, blast that I was just like going, "Brr, rah," And so to have a perfectly wonderfully supportive team. Then after the second infusion, I had to have an MRI of my noggin again, and shout out to the people over at UDI, University Diagnostics. Again, super good people, so easy and helpful and reassure you, and went through that, and to again make sure I didn't have any of that ARIA, that, what do you call it?
It's brain bleeding that or inflammation
That could happen.
That can happen.
Right.
So they have to kind of monitor that. Part of the protocol is that after the some of the infusions, you have to go get a kind of a mandatory MRI to monitor for any kind of inflammation or brain bleedings.
Right.
Yep.
So we did all that, and so now we're getting ready for Christmas and the holidays and all that kind of stuff, and we got the tree done. We got a lot of things done to prepare for the new year and things in our lives. To give you a little bit more background, because I was telling her, I said, I posted this on YouTube for people to see, not just on my Instagram and Facebook, but there were people that go, "Who the heck are these?" and all that kind of stuff. So she told you just a little bit, but I'm going to tell you a little capsule thing, and if I get too long, she'll cut me off. So we've known each other since 1998. That's a long, long time ago. In a land far, far away called Memphis is where we met. She's born and raised there. I had never been there until I moved there for a job. That's a whole backstory and a detour in life that we don't have nearly enough time, and you don't have nearly enough time to hear about. But we met each other in a different setting. She wasn't a nurse practitioner then. She was an RN, and I wasn't a minister then. I'd come out of the corporate world. I worked many years, almost 20 years, at USAA, and was moving into ministry at that time when we met. So, as she said, we got married in Portland, Oregon in 2006 in the International Rose Garden with the wonderful Reverend Anita officiating, and a small gathering of witnesses out in the public, which included the late Tony Campolo's wife was present. She was one of our witnesses. And our dear friend of many, many years, Michelle Pettigrew, came all the way across country from Memphis to play the violin. Beautiful, also an RN, and also gifted violinist, played at that wedding. And then when it was getting close to maybe having marriage equality, our attorney said, "Why don't you go ahead and get married in a state where it's legal?" And so we went one December, and it was snowing, and we got married in New York City, right at downtown at City Hall, with the whoever the dude is that's the clerk or
the
whatever.
County clerk? Or
County whatever. The big dude, clerk, yeah.
The clerk.
Yeah, himself. Married us. Court clerk. Yeah, he was super good. And we didn't have any witnesses, and you couldn't just pull them out of the crowd or anything, and we were there by ourselves, and we loved New York City in December. And so we had a friend that had a kid that lived there who was a stand-up comedian, and he had a friend that also was a stand-up comedian, and so we had two stand-ups stand up for us at our wedding.
We did.
And nobody laughed until the end. So anyway, so that's how we got to know each other, married. We've lived together in Memphis, and we've lived together here in Florida since we moved here in 2011. During that time, lots of stuff happened. She became a nurse practitioner. I went through seminary. She went back to school, like I said, and became a nurse practitioner. I got ordained and become a minister and then a chaplain, and we worked together, and it was all kind of stuff. So that's who we are.
We have 4 daughters. You know a little bit. We have 8 grandchildren.
and a dog named Buffy.
And a dog named Buffy.
Who's Buffy, who's a retired vampire slayer. So there's no vampires around here.
So we'll tell you more in future videos, but that's us for now.
And I think I got a shout out to everybody that deserved it, right?
I think you did.
But most of all to her. My best friend, my soulmate, my wife.
And we really, really do love each other, and we really are so grateful to be of any help to anybody who's going through this and who needs some sort of information from the fire that we're just going through this and gonna see how it goes.
And we are happy and contented and
grateful
and feel hopeful. And we've had people reach out to us in a variety of ways with questions as well as to get information, and we encourage that. Feel free, because you don't have to be afraid and you don't have to wonder, and there's support and there's help for you.
And if you're concerned for yourself,
or your
go get checked out, please. Please don't put it off,
especially if you're a younger boomer or younger. If you're wondering, or you've got a family history, whatever, don't
delay.
Don't have that fear of the unknown. Just
go
find out. It may not be that case, or it may be something that it is something else, or it could be Alzheimer's. But it's not the end of the world. It's a diagnosis, and it's a journey. But the journey just keeps unfolding, and we're just on the moving sidewalk at the airport. It moves whether you stand, whether you slump, whether you run, whether you go backwards, it still moves. So how you move on it is up to you.
Good night, and
I look like James Carville.
Until next time.
Peace out.